All right, guys, good morning. Just wanted to do a quick video. There's something that I neglected to show you guys last night that actually aided in my confidence in knowing that this market is going to be buying towards the all-time high. And I just wanted to point it out to you. So real quick, this is last week's chart, and I'm going to be on my 4-hour, and I want to show you a couple of points. The support line for the 1-hour and the 4-hour last week was actually a shared line, okay? This was it on my 1-hour time frame, okay, which was 44,854.1. If I go to my 4-hour, you'll see that the same support line is here, 44,854.1. Okay, let's look at the resistance lines. Excuse me. On the 4-hour, this was the resistance line, 49,837. That's the resistance line on the 4-hour. Okay. On my 1-hour, the resistance line on my 1-hour would have been 46,898.9. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this line right here. And I'm going to put it in my my chart for this week. Remember, I told you I draw my charts. Every single week, I draw a new chart. Excuse me. So I'm going to take that line that I just copied, and I'm going to paste it. Okay. All right. So this was the resistance line for last week. And just for the purposes of this illustration, I'm going to use a different color. So I'm going to use, let's say, this deep pink. All right. Don't chastise me. I know I'm colorblind. So this was last week's resistance line. Okay. Now, remember, last week's support line would have been 44,854.1. Okay, here we go. 44,854.1. This was last week. This was Good Friday, so the market closed early last week. Okay, so this is where the market would have started last week. Okay, now going through this week, and we'll just go ahead and I'll just do a quick play as to what happened into last week. Okay, so here we are. So we go through, just playing all of this through for last week, just so you can see what the market did. All right. So we hit play. All right. This is what the market did all of last week. Okay. Continue to make higher lows, higher highs on the 1-hour. All right. And on the 2-hour. So this is where the market finished on Friday, which means I'm now going to have to draw my new support and my new resistance lines for this upcoming week. Okay. So when the market finished here, okay, my new support for this week on my 1-hour, okay, my 1-hour is going to be 45,539.2. 45,539.2. Let's go over here. 45,539.2. This is now my 1-hour support line for this upcoming week. Okay. My 1-hour resistance line is now going to be 48,379. Okay. This is on my 1-hour. Remember, last week, this was the resistance line for the 1-hour. Remember, I marked it. This was the resistance line for last week. What you would have noticed just by looking at the 1-hour time frame is that the support has risen from last week. So it's now 45,539.2. Now, this is on the 1-hour time frame. Okay. The resistance that was last week was now broken. Okay. And the new high on the 1-hour time frame has been pushed to a new level. Hence, you will see the market making higher lows to higher highs. This is just on the 1 hour, okay? Now let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame. Remember last week, the 4-hour, both the 4-hour and the 1 hour actually share the same support line. Well, let's look at the 4-hour. Here we are on the 4-hour. The 4-hour support line still remains the same. Okay. However, you will notice that the 1 hour support line has shifted up. Now that tells you that the market is now starting to go back in the trend. Hence, you'll see when you zoom out, you'll notice this continuous downtrend for the past couple of months, couple of weeks. Okay. You'd see that downtrend. Support was found here last week. Hence, the 1 and the 4-hour share the same support. But now that you move to this week and you see that trend shifting back towards the ultimate trend, which is the higher lows, the higher highs, which is what the US30, the NASDAQ 100, and the S&P 500 all do, you now notice that a 1 hour support has shifted this week. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. Support remains the same. Resistance remains the same. However, something has changed in this market that I neglected to point out, when I was doing the analysis video. And I'm just showing this so that you can actually understand how I arrive at my predictions, how I arrive at what I'm telling you that the market is going to be doing. Okay, so here's your 1 hour support for this upcoming week. Here is now your 1 hour resistance. Okay, all right, let's go back. Don't take my word for it. Let's go back to the 1 hour chart. Here we go. 1 hour support. New 1 hour resistance. Last week, 1 hour resistance got broken. See, got broken. This was perfectly in line with when they did that announcement that the war, they were not going to send back Iran to the Stone Age, and the market reacted. This is what happened right here. Okay, this is what happened right here. The market just shot up from here. It's been going up ever since. Okay, again, so now what happens, because you have your higher highs, because you have moved your high point to now a new high point for the end of this week, notice that your low point has also moved from here, where it was the previous week, and it's now sitting here. So this confirms to you that the market is shifting. There's nothing in this market that is telling you that this market is bearish. Nothing. Any sells that the market makes is only a temporary retracement to make the next higher low on your largest time frame. So over time, what you're going to be seeing is that you'll constantly see that these lower time frames, your 1 hour, your 2 hour, your 3 hour, and your 4 hour, will start to move their respective support zones higher, and your respective highs higher, until you get to your next all-time high. Now, remember, the market moves from left to right. Okay. Now, if this was last week, okay, and the market is moving this way, guys, look at historical data. It does not go wrong. There's nothing on here that tells you that price is going to be coming back down to form support. The price is moving this way. It's only a matter of time before it continues up. So what you're going to be seeing this week is that this support line is going to be moving up, and this resistance line is also going to be moving up. All right, don't take my word for it. Let's look at some of the bigger time frames. So we already looked at the 4 hour. 4 hour support remains the same. Notice you did not get a new support line this week. On the 4 hour, you also didn't get a new resistance line. What that tells you is that price is consolidating between the last high and the last low. This is the last high that was made on the 4 hour. This is the last low that was made on the 4 hour. Price has bounced about in between these 2 points for the past 2 weeks. Now, as you move to your right, what you're going to find happen, we already know that this support was not taken. Okay. Since it was formed 2 weeks ago, this support was not broken. The market has continued to buy since. Okay. It's getting closer to this 4-hour resistance line. The 1-hour resistance line from last week was broken and taken. Okay. That's history. This is now history. Okay. Moving forward, what you're going to see happening is that support will continue to rise. Resistance will also continue to rise as it breaks these levels. And as it breaks these levels, it will continue towards your previous all-time high and go on to make new all-time highs for 2026. Last thing I want to show you, let's look at the yearly predictions chart. Again, beginning of the year, over the year, I've always mentioned this to you. These are my guaranteed take profit levels for 2026. I listed 3 of them at the beginning of the year. They have not changed. I've just added additional ones. All these purple lines are just additional take profit levels that are going to get hit in the future. Okay. All of these lows down here that you guys are hoping that price is going to come back to, it's never going to happen. So forget it. It's never going to happen. So here we go. As the price moves up and as those resistance lines gets broken, it brings you closer and closer towards a previous all-time high that was made this year in, I believe it is in February. Yes, in February. The first all-time high of 2026 was made. It will get broken. Here's my first take profit level, 51,715.10. And then afterwards, I have a few of them moving up the line. All right. So that is just what I wanted to point out. Again, let me go back. I'll show you. This was your support and your resistance lines for last week. It was right here. Okay. Support has now moved up to this level right here. Okay. Resistance was here. Okay. Resistance has now moved up to here. All right. So here we go. This resistance line was actually created on Thursday. And remember the concept, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and sometimes Thursdays are days when the market takes to consolidate, retrace, and set itself for the move of the week. That's exactly what happened last week. Monday, Tuesday, consolidation. Okay, by the time you got to Wednesday, boom, structure was broken. Now we have new highs being created. New highs and new lows being created. Again, let's close it out. Here we are for this week. This is now your 1 hour support, which has been risen or taken higher from last week's support. It's no longer sharing the same support level with your 4 hour. It now created a new support, its own support, which is within the 4 hour structure. And also, not only that, not only did it move the low up, it also moved the high from this level the previous week to now a new high of this week. So that gives you confidence to understand that when this market opens, the only thing that we are going to be seeing is green. Okay, so that's it. Just wanted to stop by and just point that out to you guys. So happy trading, and I will see you again the next time when I make a post. Just remember to continue to journal, continue to back test, continue to run scenarios. Don't be afraid to analyze more than you trade. The more you analyze, the more data you will see, the more points you will see coming out at you that you did not realize before. So take care, guys. Have a wonderful day. And, we'll see each other next time. Bye-bye.